Zakat is one of the 5 pillars of Islam and is a fundamental act of worship. It is not merely charity, but a compulsory, structured system of wealth redistribution intended to purify the wealth of the giver and support specific categories of people in need. Here is a detailed breakdown of the rules of Zakat. 1. The core meaning and purpose. Linguistic meaning. The word Zakat comes from the root zka, which means to purify, to grow, and to bless. Spiritual purpose. It purifies the giver's wealth and soul from greed and selfishness. It is also believed that the remaining wealth is blessed by God. Social purpose. It functions as a social safety net, ensuring the basic needs of the poor are met and fostering economic circulation and solidarity within the Muslim community. 2. The conditions for Zakat to be obligatory, fard. For a Muslim to be obligated to pay Zakat, 5 conditions must be met simultaneously. Islam, one must be a Muslim. Freedom, one must be a free individual, not a slave. This is largely historical. Complete ownership, and nisab, one must fully own the wealth above a specific minimum threshold, called nisab. Nisab threshold, the wealth must meet or exceed the nisab level for a full lunar year. Haul, lunar year, the wealth must have been in one's possession for a full lunar year, haul, while being above the nisab. 3. The nisab, minimum threshold. The nisab is not a fixed monetary amount but is based on the value of 2 primary commodities from the time of the Prophet Muhammad, pbuh, gold, 87.48 grams of gold, or its cash equivalent. Silver, 612.36 grams of silver, or its cash equivalent. Which nisab to use? Scholars differ, but the most common and cautious opinion is to use the silver standard, as it is lower and makes Zakat obligatory for more people, thereby helping more of the poor. You calculate the value of your zakatable wealth, and if it equals or exceeds the value of 612.36 grams of pure silver, you must pay Zakat. 4. What wealth is zakatable? Not all possessions are subject to Zakat. It is primarily due on cash, bank balances, and savings. This includes money in checking, savings accounts, cash on hand, and any savings intended for future use. Precious metals and stones, gold and silver, whether as jewelry, according to most scholars, if it is beyond customary use, bullion, or for trade. Business goods and inventory, the market value of merchandise bought for resale. Agricultural produce, Zakat, called ushur, is due on crops at the time of harvest, at rates of 5% or 10% depending on irrigation methods. Livestock, such as camels, cattle, and sheep, if they are raised in pastures and meet specific numbers. Shares and investments, the value of shares held for trade, not long-term buy and hold for some scholars, is zakatable. What is generally exempt? Primary residence, the house you live in. Personal vehicles, cars for personal use. Furniture and clothing, items for personal or family use. Debts owed to you, only if you expect them to be repaid. 5. The Zakat rate. The standard rate for most zakatable wealth, cash, gold, silver, business goods, is 2.5%. This is calculated as total zakatable wealth by 0.025 equals zakat due. 6. The recipients of zakat, asnaf. The Quran explicitly mentions 8 categories of people who are eligible to receive zakat, Surah At-Tawbah, 9-60, the poor, al-Fuqara, those who have some money but not enough to meet their basic needs. The needy, al-Masakin, those who are extremely destitute and have nothing. Zakat administrators, or amalina, alaiha, those employed to collect and distribute zakat. Those whose hearts are to be reconciled, al-mu'allafati qulubuhum, new Muslims or those inclined to support the Muslim community. To free those in bondage, for rakab, freeing slaves or paying ransoms for captives. The debt-ridden, all ghariman, those overwhelmed by debt they incurred for lawful needs. In the cause of God, fi sabilillah, this is often interpreted as funding for jihad, struggle, in the way of God, which includes charitable, educational, and dawah projects in a broader modern context. The wayfarer, ibn as-sabil, a traveler who is stranded and in need of financial assistance. Zakat cannot be given to non-Muslims, they are eligible for other forms of charity, sadaqah. One's own direct ascendants, parents, grandparents, or descendants, children, grandchildren. One's spouse. The wealthy, those who already possess the nisab. Summary of the calculation process. Identify, list all your zakatable assets, cash, gold, silver for trade, business inventory, etc. Deduct liabilities. Subtract any immediate debts, example, rent, credit card bill, personal loan due now. Check nisab. Ensure the net total is equal to or greater than the nisab value. The value of 612.36 grams of silver is the most common benchmark. Calculate 2.5%. Multiply the net total by 0.025. Distribute. Give the calculated amount to one or more of the 8 eligible categories. Zakat is not just a tax. It is a profound act of worship that purifies wealth, uplifts the community, and embodies the Islamic principles of social justice and compassion. It is typically paid once every lunar year.